think it was his first go-kart race.
Like an idiot.
First go-kart race. Go-kart race.
Idiot.
Went through his brain. Blue flag. Blue flag. Blue flag. Blue flag. Blue flag. Blue flag.
Like an idiot.
Well, that came to an abrupt end.
Yeah, it did.
They can't all be winners, Dave. Also, it's almost like I have no musical knowledge whatsoever.
I've heard worse. And welcome, everyone. That intro brought to you by Matthew.
And an afternoon with a keyboard. But basically, I'm asked, what do you do after you finish work? I'm like, I stay on the computer and I move the keyboard to another keyboard.
So, welcome to Backseat Drivers number 17 for 2024. We're going to chat about the Italian Grand Prix, which saw a hometown winner.
And some people got very emotional, Dave. I don't know if you saw.
The Papilla people?
No. Will Buxton got very emotional for a team that. I think it was hard to tell because it genuinely looked like he was about to cry. But from what I understand, he is very upset and concerned that McLaren didn't win and that Lando didn't come second or win because he could have got those extra points because on the off chance they win the championship. But also, he feels like it sounded like he was very invested in McLaren. I don't know if he's got shares in the McLaren company, but he spoke as if someone, you know, those people that live vicariously through other things and their whole personality is like a sports team. He said he sounded like one of those. He was very, very concerned for McLaren. And for once, I'm going to take Zach's side and think they're doing okay. They didn't really lose too badly. Ferrari just took a gamble with one stop, and they won. Good on them. Calm down, Will.
Okay.
You'll still have a job the next morning. It was
He's just a journo.
Yeah, but he was like talking like he was the the man in charge. Also, it was a 3-point difference if they had tried to swap positions. If they could have swapped positions.
I think they should have swapped positions. Just on the off chat, because if it does come down to a couple of points at the end, they should have done. Now, Hungary was fine because they screwed Oscar. That was a win. But in the end, I think towards the end of this race, they should have said, "Hey, Oscar, if you don't get Leclerc, we want you to swap." And you're swapping a second for a third kind of thing. It's still a podium. It's not going to wreck your career, etc.
Yeah.
Which he's obviously not going to volunteer it. But I think if it was me, I would have come over the radio and said, "Hey, we need to do this just in case."
Zach's now. I think Zach is in a good position where he does now have to have team orders. I think beforehand he was like, let them do what they like. We're the cool fun bunch at the back. We're not going to beat Red Bull, but we're a cool team. Everyone's equal. And now it's come a lot closer. He's like, I need to make some tough decisions. And in the end, Oscar's going to be like, what happened, man? At the start of the season, we were all cool and having fun. And now you're telling me I've got to give up positions and like he had that awkward chat with Lando about, later in the year, we're going to have to, you need both your drivers. I think that was a dig at Perez and, the Constructors' Championship. but basically, I think he's in an uncomfortable position now where he's like, I'm no longer the cool, fun Michael Scott, wacky character. I have to be an actual leader and tell, I'm going to have to make awkward team decisions with 3 laps to go. I'm going to have to say, hey, Oscar, Lando needs those points for the win. because the gap between 1 and 2 is greater than 2 and 3, isn't it? So if they were 1 and 2, there will be times where he'll be like, "Hey, Oscar, I know you basically led from the start. You did that amazing overtake in the second corner, but I need you to move now. I promise I'll give you another win. I'm definitely good for it." But if it turns out that Lando needs 8 more wins to win the championship as well, I don't care if I anger you because I'm going to have a massive trophy to put in the front office.
Yeah, that's it.
And he looks like. Do you think Zach's now going like, we're going to win the constructors? That's pretty much in the bag. Do you think he's going to risk it and get Lando to be like, we could get both this year? Or if they stuff up, they can get neither.
Yeah, I mean, I think the constructors is probably a bit of a foregone conclusion now.
But if they don't have team orders and they start fighting, what if they do a Max and Dan and just take each other out and lose 37 points?
Yeah, but they're gaining enough at the moment to race
if they're not told what to do and they knock each other out in a off chance that they both decide that they're number one.
Just one second.
Corner.
I think they'd have to do it multiple rounds. Though.
Yeah, but it just seems
if they take each other out once, they're still going to win because even like Max had an off weekend and Checo was still 8th. Was it 7th or 8th?
He was.
Last.
No, wait a minute. Checo was 8th. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was after he'd smashed up George's front wing, and George had to have the extra or the longer stop.
Ferrari's only 39 points behind, which is what McLaren were 2 weeks ago. And
they might get second in the constructors, and
Red Bull might drop to 3rd.
Yeah,
which would be glorious because you then have to cut to Hornier, who's like, we already want 3rd. No, never going to happen.
But that serves them right for not making a decision on drivers.
Well, so are Red Bull like the 3rd best team right now, or 4th even?
Well, on the weekend they were 4th.
I would say it's. Mercedes would be better, right?
Yeah, they were 4th. Now, whether there's a genuine braking issue now with the car since it got changed, or it's just Max had an off weekend,
or Dave, is it? I'm thinking the conspiracy that as soon as Newey leaves the team, because. I don't know if you're in the software world, Dave, like if you're, leave a company, sometimes you leave funny things in your code that no one finds until weeks later. Do you think he's created like a wing and he's gone, no one will notice this until like 10 weeks in. By then I'm on my boat. I don't even care. Someone's looking at it and just like in software, they're like, I don't even know what this means. No one can read this gibberish that he's left behind. Like, it's probably got the answer of how to fix it, but no one can read the handwriting. So they're like, I don't know, just chuck a bolt on there. It'll work. And now
I think from what kind of Max has been saying, that they've had these issues with the car all year. It's just that they had an advantage at the start of the year. So it didn't look so bad. Whereas now others have caught up. And now it's becoming a big problem because they're like, Max is really having a push.
It's not just like 1 or 2. Everyone's now caught up to. Well, not everyone, but enough.
Yeah, and that's the thing that you're not. Instead of say, at the start of the year, because Max would go and win, and then whoever had finished 2nd and 3rd. But the problem is now that if you're slightly off on the weekend, you're 7th and 8th. you're not running.
Does this work
Seconds.
well, though, for Checo? Because a lot of people are saying now that Max is going badly, Checo can be, it wasn't me. I don't suck. It's the car the whole time.
Well, he was still pretty disappointing over the weekend.
No, but like he could just say that, oh, my car was also really bad. You know, it wasn't, you know, everyone was saying that I'm, you know.
It's been bad all season.
We don't know, Dave.
Well, yeah, I mean, he kind of implied that Max had something taken away from him that he hasn't had. But I don't know why you'd not put it on both fucking cars.
Oh, you test it on one and then be like, oh, this seems to work. Let's put that thing on on Checo's car. It's not like a one-of-one super piece. Like we only built one side pod. You can't have two. You gotta share.
Although Checo is still beating Logan in the Destructors Championship, I think.
He's doing quite well.
Yeah.
And
he's won something this year.
Well, you know, he's I don't think Perez can go any lower in the positioning, right? Unless George magically wins another race.
I haven't.
Well, it's 143 to 128, and I'd say George has more chance of winning another race than Perez does.
Yeah.
Unless Perez pulls off some Singapore magic in 2 weeks?
Which he won't.
Well, you know, it could happen, Dave. I doubt it as well.
Traditionally, the Red Bulls haven't been good at Singapore.
Well, that's where they tripped up last year, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And do you think Fernando Alonso will mysteriously win Singapore, Dave? I keep saying it, Dave. I feel like stuff's going to happen at Singapore.
You've got to get Lance to try really hard.
Just to crash into a wall.
I'm just looking at the points.
Yep.
Before we go any further, Lance Stroll, 10th, 24 points. That makes sense. 11th, Hülkenberg, 22 points.
Yep.
12th, Sonoda, 22 points.
Yep.
Those two have nearly got as many points as Lance Stroll.
And he's riding a not quite a rocket ship, but he should be a lot higher.
Yeah.
So that being said, Dave, looking at the list, right? Max at the top, understandable, right? McLaren's at the top, Ferrari's at the top. They're like top 5. And then you've got Lewis at 6. Maybe he could do a little better, maybe not. Then you've got Perez, who's definitely not where he needs to be. He needs to be a lot higher. George probably needs to be a little higher. And then you've got Fernando and Lance. Where, if they had a good season, where would you imagine Fernando and Lance should be in that crowded top 10?
I would have thought that the hard thing is there is a bit of a gap between the top 4 and then the rest, which at the start of the season, it was Alonso finishes 9th, and then if Stroll doesn't fuck up, he finishes 10th. If Stroll, shows his commitment, then everyone else gets to fight over 1 point.
Yes.
Whereas at certain times, the Williams was probably the 5th best car over the weekend.
Surprisingly, did quite well.
Yeah, and the Haas has been up there. The Renaults have had a couple of times they've been the best car. So I'm probably not overly surprised that, Aston Martin aren't miles ahead, because it's not like you've had those headline kind of results at the start of the year as well, because they were clearly 5th. So at the start of the year, 2nd, 3rd, 4th team, bounced around a little bit, but it's not like Aston Martin were ever like, oh, they're the 4th best team this weekend. Like they were just 5th. So it's not like they were scoring, like they didn't pick up a 2nd position and, get an 18-point chunk. Like I think Fernando's best result is something like 5th for the year. It's not like
Fernando's best is 5th all the way back in Saudi Arabia. And then the closest he's ever... Oh, no, he had 5th, 8th, 6th, and 7. And then after that, he kind of just...
But see, like at the start of last year, I think he had a couple of podiums and things like that where you're scoring big chunks of points. So you get that big lead on the guys in like your Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Ricciardo kind of thing. Whereas they haven't had those headline results this year to really make those big leaps. No.
Oh, God damn it.
What are we?
Oh, we got the championship.
Current constructors.
Yeah, like I said, Ferrari's only 39 points
31.
behind.
Yeah.
31.
Behind McLaren.
Someone had done the calculations. I was listening, I think it was on a podcast this week.
Yeah.
If you have the same results of this race for the rest of the year, so Leclerc winning, Norris second, etc., Leclerc wins the championship by like 60 points or something ridiculous.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. But that means Leclerc has to win every race with Max having a bad race every weekend.
Well, Max is not. Max hasn't won a race in 6 races now.
It's been
a
long time.
And also in all of that, in the last 5 races, he's not won. No, last 6 races, he's not won, and he's been on the podium twice. One might say this is his worst performance in probably 3 years.
Yeah, probably since 2020.
Whereas everyone's favorite, new favorite, Oscar, in his last 6 races, second, fourth, first, second, fourth, second. That's a
That's
I mean,
that's a big turnaround.
He might even catch Charles. It might be a Max McLaren Charles finish.
Yeah, I think that's more likely than Charles winning the championship. But you never know. Like, I mean, Ferrari just won the last race.
Well, I think, like I said, if Ferrari do well next week,
you got Baku, haven't you? So, which is fairly
next week,
fairly similar to Monza. So you could actually see Ferrari win again.
Well, the thing is, McLaren only need to have an 8-point differ, right? Like Delta. Whereas if Ferrari was to win, right? If they were to win and let's say Carlos gets a 4th again, that would mean all the gaps have moved in and Nostradamus will have come correct because come Singapore, there will be 3 teams, probably a difference of a couple of points. And then, Dave, I'm calling it now, Lance flies into a wall, but first he's going to fly. He's going to do it in, what was it? Was it in like qualifying? They did it first just to sell it, to look like, oh, no, he's having trouble in that corner.
Yeah, I think he had just a spin. I don't think he really buried it in the wall.
He gave them the impression of like, oh, that's a tricky corner. Watch out for that corner. And then, he's going to mess around.
Oh, we need that, Dave. Points.
Yeah.
Is it that time of the night?
Check the results. Talk amongst yourselves while I try and work this out.
I have a question for you, Boovy.
Yep.
What kind of tattoo will Zach get when they win the constructors? Because you know how, like with Dan, he got the racetrack.
Yep.
And then, with the other ones, and I think Lando, he got, what was it, Miami?
I think so,
If he wins the constructors, one, I'm thinking it has to be on the chest.
Yep.
Like, does he get a tattoo of the constructors, or does he do it like in ball sports, where you get a little tattoo of the constructors, and then the year that you win it on the impression that you're going to win it multiple times later on, and you get like a 2024, and then you got like room for 25, 26, and so forth.
Ooh, tough. I would say this being Zach and his personality.
He has to get one, right?
And you still. The problem is though, Oscar said he didn't want a tattoo, but he said he wanted to see him in a mohawk haircut, but he didn't do it properly.
No.
So he's got that one. So I'd probably say most likely he'll probably end up doing the trophy.
Little trophy on the arm?
Year. Trophy on the arm with the year and space underneath it.
Now, does Oscar have tattoos?
I don't think so.
Lando does. Lando's got a few.
Yep.
He'll get a tattoo if he wins the Constructors, I reckon.
Lando.
He'll either get it on the race in which they won it, which will probably just be, what's the last race these days? Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, yeah.
Or he'll get a matching one with Zach.
I'll probably say you get a matching one with Zach.
And then they'll bully Oscar into getting one as well.
He'd be like, nah, I won't do it.
Nah, he'll get one. You know what? Actually, he won't get one because Oscar's mum will tell Zach off for bullying his child.
She's great. Have you seen some of the stuff she's done on?
She's brilliant. They need more people like people like her and less people like Joss. Less Joss,
sure.
More Oscar mum.
Yes.
Also, I forgot to tell. I don't know if I told you last week in the Max Verstappen documentary.
Yep.
Josh tries so hard to make it sound like I was a super supportive dad. I was like the best guy ever. Also, don't look into any of the history of me. Just know that I was really good and I do everything great.
Oh boy.
Don't ask where any of my family members are or like any of my outbursts or anything. But I was a cool dude and I did cool stuff. I'm here to help Max. But if Max loses, well, he's left in the car at the petrol station.
Living vicariously for his kid.
So, hey Dave, you can explain this to me. So obviously, winning the race is very important, right?
Yeah.
The difference between second to third to fourth is 3 points, right? But the difference from second to first is 7 points.
Mm.
That's
to try and encourage people to go for the win rather than just collect it.
I'd imagine, yeah. So that's why I don't think when what's his name, Will, old crying Will, was like they need to swap positions. It's not. I mean, yeah, if it comes down to it, but there's also that risk of
exactly. You never know something might happen during the overtake.
Just finish how it is. Just aim for the constructors first.
Exactly.
Let everyone race, and then if it turns out, Lando is 5 points with 3 races to go, then maybe tell Oscar, hey, Oscar, we need you to be blocky boy. And, you're going to become Rubens Barrichello for 6 races. You've had your win. Be happy.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is, though, it is a fairly big gap to try and close down.
I think they're
Lando,
I think at this point they're delusional.
Really, Oscar's out of it, but you don't know, and swapping as second and a third to get a few extra points, and maybe opening up that opportunity at the end of the season, as opposed to kind of going, oh well, it's both of them have got a chance at the moment, blah blah blah.
I mean, they don't, but yeah.
That's
yeah.
All
right.
I mean, unless Oscar wins 4 races in a row, he magically gets 100 points.
But then you still need Max to not score anything, and he's still behind by 6 points.
Yeah.
So that's where. Yeah, I mean, it's a big ask for Lando.
Wait, how many races we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
14.
7, 8.
We've got quite a few.
So you got 8 races and a 60-point buffer. That's
there's a sprint weekend and there's a sprint weekend and somewhere in there as well.
Yeah, but they're not really
2 sprints, I think.
Is there?
I think there's still 2 to go.
Is there?
There has to be a sprint in Las Vegas, right? Or is
No,
there a new?
that's
I think
new
it's Coda and
It's Coda and Brazil, I think.
Ah.
So Coda is
but-
definitely one of them.
What wacky event does
Brazil.
Las Vegas have? They have to have a new stupid. I'm going to call it like the DJ Khaled Super Mega like reverse sprint where you got to like drive backwards and then
No,
you got
just a-
to pop 8
Standard
balloons.
F1 weekend.
And for every balloon you pop, you get an extra point, and then you land. You know. Oh, it's Qatar.
he's
it's not.
saying it's Qatar and Brazil.
I
I
mean,
thought,
No,
yeah, Coda
it's
was
definitely
one.
Coda.
There you
Coda.
go.
Sure.
Will be
Oh,
versus
okay,
East
three
Scooter.
sprints
Who's-
left. There's 3 sprints left, not 2, 3.
So wait, E-Scooter was correct though.
On Qatar, but he missed out on Coda.
okay.
Still correct though, because there were 3, and
Yeah.
you only got 2, Booby. So
I got
technically,
2, so we're both
you're
equal
either
points.
both right or you're both wrong, Booby. Which are they going to be?
We're both right.
Oh, Dave, see how we quickly rescued
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah. So I've done the points for this week.
Yep.
I'll just take my 15 points now, then, and we'll just keep going with the show. Brilliant.
Okay. Coming in last this week, Rob with a single point. And that was with his actual tips, not the ones Matt made up. So
No, I don't make them up. I try to help him.
he's pretty much done as badly by himself. Disappointingly, I only got 2 points.
What a loser.
In equal second, we have Buffy and E-Scooter on 6 points.
What?
Which means
Oh my God, Matt's got points.
the winner of the week is Matthew, who tipped the correct podium just in the wrong order, but had Oscar in the right position. So, yeah, he got 7 points. That doesn't help overall, though. So you have jumped up to equal with Rob on 20 points.
Yes.
We'll say equal 4th instead of last place.
Yep. Sounds good.
E-Scooter's still ahead of you guys on 23. Well, he's actually jumped Rob. He was behind Rob last week.
There's no
spreadsheet.
E-Scooter.
It's all text.
Yeah,
It's all old school pen and paper.
this is so no one can cheat.
Except we will still find a way
yeah.
to cheat.
If we were cheating, I'd be winning this time. So I'm second on 33, and Buffy's extended his lead now up to 40.
Nice.
So
That's how we want to
yeah, I'll start fixing the tips in a couple of rounds because that lead's getting a bit. Yeah, we're going to take your asymmetrical braking away, and yeah, we'll go back to a fairer competition. I'll get my flexi wings out.
Yep. Actually, Dave, you know what we should do? Just check. I think Boovy's hat's lighter than it should be. It should be 1 kilo heavier. I think you need to disqualify Booby.
Just go disqualify him from a race or two.
Yeah, I think he needs
Or
to be.
maybe Magnuson did
Yeah, he
too
needs
many
to be
penalty
K-Mag.
points. Yeah.
Also, how garbage do you have to be in this day and age? Like, unless he's right and the FIA hates him, but K-Mag picked up what 37 demerit points in like 3 races for the.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how do you do that?
It's hard, but because of people pissing and moaning about Grosjean, so this whole penalty points system thing came in. So now you've got a system where if you bump with someone during the race, you automatically get these points. And if you do speeding in the pit lane or whatever and blah, 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 you automatically get these points.
No points.
Sorry?
Lance hit Dan in that safety car incident and he got no points.
Yeah, but
No,
that
that
was
was
because Dan braked for the corner and he's not supposed to brake for the corner under safety car.
Oh,
You're
I'm an
supposed
idiot. No,
You're
sorry,
supposed to
Dan.
go full ball in, no brakes.
So, like he
He's got
says,
2
like
points
it's
for
like a
that.
stamp. Just send it. straight through the corner, leave it in third, and just like whoosh. Sorry, my bad, Dave. I completely misunderstood.
Just
he got 2 points for that penalty.
yeah,
Did he?
it should have been more than
did.
that. But
It should
yeah,
have been more, but he only got 2 for it.
They should have taken him out back and shot him while playing the Canadian national anthem.
can I just want to
Holy
point out
crap,
something?
he got those points within 6 months.
Can
Yeah.
you point out something, Dave? Point us out.
So 18th in the championship, Esteban Ocon, 5
Yep.
points. 19th in the championship, Guan Yu Zhou. 20th in the championship of 20 drivers, Logan
Yep.
Sargent.
Yep.
21st, Franco
Franco
Cozzo.
Cozzo.
22nd,
Bottas.
Valtteri Bottas.
Oh my
You know
God.
what that is, Dan? Dave? That is worse than Mr. Old Formula E, Nick De Vries, who only finished 21st in
Yeah,
a 20-man competition.
yeah.
Crazy.
Now-
crap.
De Vries also only did like half the season
Yeah.
Yeah.
in his defense.
Also, Dave,
But
next week,
Bottas has done the whole season,
yep.
and he's been beaten by the forgotten Chinaman.
Yep.
Well, even worse, Dave. As we all know, the Bearman line has a chance next week to drop more
To
people below
increase.
it.
Yep.
If he happens to get anything above, what does he need?
He needs 6 points, I think.
If he gets more than 6 points, so if he comes 7th or greater, there are Ricardo and Gasly drop down. In fact, if he comes on a podium, he might kill a few more people in my made up.
Let's be honest, though. The
Not in a
chances of
half.
him, yeah,
Not
Oh,
in a
he was
half.
driving a Ferrari last time, wasn't he?
Yes.
yes,
Sorry.
yeah, where all you essentially all you had to do was finish the race and you got points.
You turned
I
up.
mean, Perez makes it look hard some weekends to score points in.
Dave, he was made simple tasks. Like, I reckon when he gets into the car, he's like, oh, I can't fit. And he goes, did you take the plastic cover off? Oh, I forgot. Oh, guys,
You guys want a penalty points
the
update?
car won't start. Is it because we've left the blocks on? Oh, yeah. Guys, is
You
it
guys want a
left out of
penalty
the
points
pit or
update
right
this
out of
year
the
or
pit?
not?
What's happened, Bobby?
Sorry?
Penalty points update. You want that for this year?
Yeah,
All right.
Who's next?
Well, we all know Magnussen's gone
Yeah,
for
who's
the
after
week.
him? Who's
Yeah.
going to be kicked out next?
Next is on 8 points, 2 drivers,
Lance.
Fernando
Nah.
and Sergio.
Ooh. They could get... Sergio needs to just do the noble thing and smash into the back Lance,
But
get himself kicked out, get Lance kicked out, and we're all winners.
Yep. Next on 5 points, Lance.
How many points do you need to get kicked out?
12.
Lance is
12.
on 5 points.
yeah.
And
12 points.
what's the 7-point offence, Bobby?
I
Besides being
think there's only 1, 2, and 3.
I don't think it goes anything more than 4 or something.
Canadian, 4. Stupid face, 4. Lack of responsibility for anything, another 4 points. I say kick him out for 2 years.
Yeah.
If I was his dad, I would get fake fines and just be like, oh, sorry, son, you can't race. I'm just going to bring in this new kid who's going to get me points and maybe a championship. I'd love to help you back, but I just don't have the money to fight this. I mean, I've got money. I just don't have the money for you to fight this.
All right. 4 points.
Yep.
Nico and Max, they're both on 4 points each.
Max
3
got
points?
them from e-racing, though, for yelling at people. And that's nothing to do with F1, Bobby. That's just him getting angry at 3 a.m.
Fair enough. Then we've got 3 points. Esteban and Dan, they're both on 3 points. 2
Would have
points.
thought
Yeah, I would have thought Esteban would have had more points too, but he's only on 3.
Hmm.
2 points is Valtteri, George.
Well, Valtteri doesn't do anything, as we've seen. He just potters around in the back. So,
1 and George has 2 points as well. 1 point is Sainz.
And Lewis has none?
So 0 point people. Alex, Pierre, best 44, Charles, Lando, Oscar, Yuki, forgotten Chinaman.
Well,
And-
again, the one time
Quite a few that have got none. Yeah.
And if Logan Sargent was still racing, he would have been on 6 points.
that's why they got rid of him. They were scared.
Yeah.
Holding him back.
Yeah. That's what they were scared of.
The Illuminati stopped him from driving.
Creating points, yep.
Oh, speaking of stupid conspiracies and stuff, I don't know if any of you have seen Red Bull have done like this festival of speed thing where Richard Hammond's daughter became a part of the pit crew, and they did a whole bunch of like, Red Bull things, right?
Yeah.
Don't read the comments. It just shows how stupid people are. So it's Red Bull, right? We know Red Bull. It's a drink company. It's a cool jumping out of helicopters. It's an F1 team, but there are other things around it, right? Like many.
Yeah.
And there are things like people who make the engines are not Red Bull. They make the powertrains, but the engines come from another person. And, there's multi things, right? All the comments for the Red Bull, like week of speed, Richard Hammond's daughter doing pit thing. Oh, you got all this time to do this, but you got no time to fix Max's car. Why? Why do you've sat down on a computer on a phone and thought, what's the best use of my time? I'm not going to learn a new language, upskill in something, walk the dog, spend time with my family. I'm going to go on the Red Bull corporate media page where Adrian Newey and Horner obviously sit and monitor, and I'm going to complain that they haven't bothered to fix Max's car. I'll tell you, the people that are fixing the car, they're not looking at the Instagram. They're in a corner room somewhere. They're panicking because they're like, we need to fix the car. Oh, but Jeremy 420 for life, Stoner Bro 62 has said that we need to fix the car. We better listen to Jeremy because he clearly knows how to run an F1 team.
That's the problem with the internet, that anybody like us gets a voice. And sometimes these people are not right because you could also spend that time learning about the rules of Formula One.
Exactly.
Things like budget caps and marketing.
Yes.
And realize that this is or that Red Bull, whatever it was, that's a marketing thing. That's not Formula One team doing that. Yeah.
Oh, Dave,
there may be Formula One cars there.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, it'd be an old Formula One car too.
Hey, Dave, were you there? Because they had the old Formula One cars, and I think they had Mark Webber and Coulthard, who I think at this point are just there for shits and giggles. I think they don't ask to go on this. No one asks them. Those two together just turn up at Milton Keynes and go, what are you guys doing on the weekend? We've got a race, David. Yeah, but can me and Max want to take an old like RB10 out? He goes, what have we told you? Ask first. No, when we have a show day, you can use it. Yeah, but Mark's out the back there. He's waiting. I said that to get us through. Can we just borrow two of them and like we'll bring them back and like we'll fill them up, but just let us borrow two of them. We're gonna do some donuts in the car park. It'll be real funny. If you want, you can film it. And then bring one of your helicopter mates along and we'll get some of the parachute out for no reason. And then we'll bring out that other one that we got for the rugby players where we pushed up against like 9 rugby players and showed them. Have you seen that one? Just ridiculous. No. They get an F1 car, Dave, and they change the front wing to basically be a piece of metal. And then they push it up against a rugby training like brace. And then they have like rugby players. And then we'll say Mark Webber sits in the scrum, and then they just push the cars, and that's marketing. It's just
nice.
Someone's come up to Christian Horner and gone, "Hey Christian, can we buy the RB7? What do you need it for?" I don't want to tell you now, but it's going to be good. And then he's like, it's not going to be something stupid with another sports team. No, of course not. But
Never.
also, unrelated, we do sponsor a bunch of soccer and rugby teams, and one of them's outside, and they want to do something stupid.
I'd imagine that like Horner and that have no idea what's going on with any of those things.
No, of course.
I
They
reckon they're told, like, you know the one they did
After.
for Vegas last year when they're in the fake elevator.
Yeah, that stuff. If it's around a Formula One weekend, they're probably.
But
No,
that
no,
also
no,
seemed, if you watch those, I think Horner's like, yeah, I'll do this. I'm cool. I'm a cool, team leader. Checo always looks uncomfortable in those. Like, I don't know if it's like he doesn't understand, like, Mark, like he's just like, I just want to drive, Whereas Dan and Max and Liam and even Yuki to a degree.
How good was the
Yuki's
did you see
translation?
Yeah.
Yuki's the funniest man because I feel like Yuki has come to terms that he's not getting a Red Bull seat, so he's just gonna cause as much damage as he can at every event. Like if he doesn't swear and he sticks to the company, he can say whatever he wants.
Oh yeah, like what he did with Dan.
He'll make up stuff, but he's like, whatever. I'm gonna get paid. I'm gonna be stupid now. I'm gonna tell everyone that Dan thinks you're an idiot.
I'm stuck here, but I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm gonna. Whereas every time Checo's there, he feels it's like, hey, Checo, you having fun? He's like, I am enjoying the F1 racing. Max and I are looking forward to a good race. I'm like, most of the time you get media.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a little bit of because he would have been an ESL kid.
Yes.
Whereas
I think like a language barrier for some of the.
Yeah, and I think he came to Europe relatively late. I think he spent a lot of time in junior formulas in Mexico, whereas I think Yuki had come across quite young, and Max would have been taught, and I think Yuki probably would have done English lessons.
Yeah.
Early on.
And Dan speaks okay English. He's mastered it a bit.
Yeah, he's relatively it's passable.
It's rough,
but
it's passable.
Yeah, and Max would have done English because he's been groomed to be Formula One world champion from day one. So they would have.
If Jobs couldn't get it, Max was going to get it,
Yeah, that's it. Like they would have known that he needed to know English. So yeah, he would have been speaking that from very early. So I think I don't defend Checo much, but I think there is probably a little bit of that.
I feel like they don't explain it to him. I think there's a lot of, I don't know, I wouldn't call it like lingo or slang, but I feel like when they do like these wacky events, they don't like with the what did they have, the box racer thing? I feel like they would have told Checo, they're like, oh, we're gonna race in a little box, and he's like, what are you talking about? This is a weird, this makes no sense.
We're doing racing. Yeah,
we're doing racing, and like Max and Dan sort of understood. I think Yuki was there just to crash the, to be fair. But like when they did the Australian slang one, I mean, I think the only reason Max knows it is because of Dan. But if you'd got any other driver, they'd all be like, what is this? Except Bottas, he understands. But you got Forgotten Chinaman or any of the French, they'd be like, what are you talking about? What's the thong? Why have you
Ocon would have known because he was teammates with Dan.
Yeah, but I don't think they were
Yeah.
I
think they were teammates, not friends.
Yeah, they were, as we were told, they are colleagues. Like him and Lando got along, and I think they still do.
Yeah.
And and speaking of the thing is now, so Lando and Max are good friends, right?
Yeah.
Were until Lando was like, "Oh, what a lovely win!" And so Dan is now in the weirdest of friend triangles because he's friends with Lando and Max. They're not really talking. And then he's friends with Scotty James, who I've been looking up recently, who's married to Lance Stroll's sister. and Dan was the best man at his wedding. I can only imagine now there's like we're going out. And he's like, will Lance be there? Yeah. Oh, I'm busy. I got that thing. Yeah, no, I can't make it. Got to go. Bye. Like, there's so many weird, weird little friendship triangles now that I've began to notice.
They should hate each other more.
Who?
Like the old days, yeah?
Yeah. Formula One drivers. Why should they be friends with each other? Battle to the death.
Dave, funny you
I think
mentioned
they
that.
become friends after they've raced.
In the sport of the red kangaroo leather, right? And they inflate to like a weird shape. A lot of the old 70s players have had a go at people at the end of the competitions where they like shake hands and the air goes, back in my day, we punch him in the face, end of the game, punch him in the face one more time, just to let him know. And sometimes at the start of the game, I just punch him in the ribs just to remind him I was there. And they're like, I don't like this. I don't like how Boovy and Matt are like joking at the start of the game. If that was me and I was the coach, I'd pull him straight off the game, get someone else in there and just punch Boovy in the ribs. Just to let him know, no easy game. They should do that in the F1, you're saying. Just at the start of the race, just swerve someone off. Who was it? Was it Schumacher that got that disqualification when he basically forced who did he force off the road?
Barrichello was one of the which time?
I think when he got disqualified.
Because I think he got disqualified for the Barrichello one as well, but the main one was the Villeneuve when he crashed into Villeneuve.
Yes. Yeah. Look, you know what? In hindsight, probably a good thing. No one likes Villeneuve. I think there should be rules. Like if someone was to like swerve Lance off the track, you should just look at it and go, you know what? It's probably good. Netflix will pay for the damage.
Instead of getting penalty points on your license, you get penalty points taken away.
Yeah.
So say Magnussen, it's like you're going to get 2 points for he crashed off. Wasn't it?
Gasly. And Gasly even said that he would like speak at his court case.
Yeah, but then okay, you've crashed off Gasly and you're getting a couple of points or whatever. And you're like, I'm running low. I'll take out Lance and get 4 points back.
No, but you know what else you should get, Dave? You know how they didn't have a sprint weekend?
Yeah.
Just allocate him 8 points. Just say, you won the sprint to get Lance off. 8 bonus points. You know what? Yeah. You can just have them. Where'd they come from? I picked them out of there. They are. Here we go. Yeah. Here's 8 points. And you know what? Next week, we'll let Lance start in the back because he doesn't have a car. And, we'll fine them for not suiting up to 2 working vehicles.
No, you just put someone useful in the second vehicle. Yeah.
Do you think, Dave, because again, the rumor that Newey's going to Jag, do you think that there will be a time when the cars come back, Rookie of the Year gets a podium, right? The car's brilliant. Like, for some reason, it's just, he gets his first win in like 15 years, and Lance is getting 8th, 9th, but, he's checkering it up. Do you think they have to be like, Lance, I want to win it. I want to win a Constructors' Championship here. I know I said that you have an ongoing in perpetuity, 2037. You can drive this team until you're old. Can you maybe just piss off? Like, you love skiing. Why don't you go play with your brother-in-law and he'll take you to the half pipe? And, break a leg. I don't really care.
A few years ago, I thought that, these are educated people who have been very successful in business. But it's got to that point where it's still going. He's still there. I think this is going to be Lance will make the decision.
Yeah. Do you think
when
Lance
he's bored?
He must be, Dave. The thing is, right, like I said, you've got like people who are friends, right? You've got all your mates. You're like, oh, look at the Ferrari guys, Max, like all the Red Bull and the V Carb and all them, they're together. Like you always see it though. Lance turns up in his dad's Gulfstream. Like he turns up to school in his daddy's Bentley, where everyone else has caught the tram together, and they're like, "Hey, Booby, you catching the tram home?" Of course I am. I'm not a rich prick. Oh, that's right. You should come with us, and we'll like hang out after school and we'll play Nintendo. And then Lance is like, "Does anyone want to get in my Bentley?" And they're like, "Oh no, thank you. Boovy and I are going to go to McDonald's and then play Nintendo. You're not invited though."
Want some McDonald's?
In Canada, we have the McDonald's.
The way he's been brought up in that though,
he wouldn't care.
Yeah, and then there is also, I mean, I won't throw anyone under the bus, but I have heard of certain people who have been in similar situations that are just like, it's fun. Like I get to drive a race car for a living kind of thing. Like, I don't. Our family has enough money that it doesn't matter if I don't win.
But the problem is, his dad's going on about winning in constructors.
That's probably where there is some delusion in there.
Because the problem is, I'm all for Lawrence trying to win a championship. Makes it fun, right? I like seeing stupid rich Tony Stark people running an F1 team. It's hilarious. It'd be great. But the problem is, you can't then have a comical sidekick idiot who's like, "Hey, Dad, what are we doing this week?" He's like, "Well, I'm hoping you get a podium because you're costing me $1 million a point right now." And old man Alonso here, who I've just had to give I've just given him a Valkyrie car, which supposedly broke down shortly after he picked it up. He's at least a world champion at one stage. He did it against Ferrari. You've been given a rocket ship.
The hard thing is as well though, like we didn't realize that Seb was doing a poor job towards the end there because you had Lance as the yardstick, and now Alonso's not killing it anymore. Is he trying, or is age finally catching up and he's starting to slow down? Like you don't have a proper gauge where that car is because you don't know, because all they have to do is beat Lance. Whereas at least you've got a proper gauge in most of the other teams.
Well, maybe that's why Alonso's happy that Lance is there. Like he's not going to be challenged.
Yeah.
He's like,
that's it.
I can 45 and do this. I could keep doing this.
He's got a Fernando. What was it? He's signed up to the end of 26 now.
26.
26, yeah.
Yeah. So he's got a couple more years.
But he doesn't need to worry about anything because
they're
not going to replace. Yeah.
Turn up and beat Lance, which and he's not a total plonker, but he's not Formula One quality these days.
No. But the
if
thing
it was 20 years ago in a Minardi, who cares? But you're in a team that has proper ambition nowadays, and you've been there for, is it 7 years now?
He's been there a while, but the problem is also he still acts like a 15-year-old with no consequences.
Yeah.
There we go. 161 races, 0 championships, 0 wins, 3 podiums, 292 points.
Yeah.
And most of those points were scored in 2020 and last year.
His career, the Formula One career, is longer than Damon Hill's right now.
What?
And Damon Hill's a world champion.
Yeah.
No, that sounds like a made-up fact, Dave. I need to.
You can fact check that one. Matt.
Holy crap! He's had 40 more races than Damon Hill won a championship.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what Damon Hill has that Lance has?
Lance
Doesn't have? Likability.
Yes.
Like, Damon Hill is actually a likable champion of the 90s.
Yeah. But that's where, and I'm sure, like, you could go through and there'd be a lot of other guys that are a lot better, essentially, that had a lot shorter careers. This isn't a guy like, you know, Pedro Diniz, who came in, I think, for 4 years, who had family had mega dollars, and it came and went kind of thing. Like, Lance has been in for a long time now.
1, 2,
That's
3, 4, 5,
bonkers.
6, 7, 8. He's been. This is his 8th season.
Yeah.
And
So
his 3 podiums.
I'm just going to randomly select. Here we go. So Alan Prost.
Prost was, yeah, but what was Prost, 82 to 93? And he sat out a year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And won 4 world championships.
Yes. Nigel Mansell has had the same amount as Lance, I think. So Lance Stroll has had 161 races. Nigel Mansell has 192.
Yep.
He's had a championship and 31 wins.
Yeah.
Nelson Piquet, 200 races.
Yep.
I mean,
so, but you know,
It's crazy.
yeah, Lance is going to have a career as long as some of these guys who have won multiple world championships.
Nicky Lauda, how many races do we think he's done?
Lauda would have, yeah, but it was a lot less back in those days.
There's a lot less races.
He's had
So-
177 races and won 3 championships. So unless Lance Stroll in the next 16 races wins 3 world championships in whatever. Also, speaking of Lance Stroll and winning championships, I do, and using that soundbite from the start of the show, I do like how now Oscar's had a go at Lance being an absolute rookie. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
just
But that's the thing. You in comparison, Oscar's only a year and a half into his career,
yeah.
and he's doing much better. He
Well,
looks. If you compared the two this year and said which one do you think is in their 7th year in Formula One, or
You think it was
and
Oscar.
which one do you think is in their 2nd year of Formula One?
Yeah, well, Dave, we're just going to do a comparison. So Oscar is 23, right?
Yeah,
I don't know what you were doing at age 23. I know what I was doing, and it was definitely not racing F1s.
no,
It was not even remotely that.
it's taken me a lot longer to get this professional.
Yes. So he's had 38 races.
Yeah.
He's
Which
always
that is a hard thing as well, because there's so many races these days.
Yeah.
So that skews
Well, like within his
but
first 2 years, he'll be at 45.
well,
Yeah.
Dave.
But
he's-
same with Lance, he's had as many years as some of these guys who have won multiple.
Dave, quick question. Don't even
Yeah.
need to look. How many more points do you think Lance has with his 8 years than he does to Oscar?
I reckon Oscar's probably not that far off Lance's total already.
Trick question. Oscar has 2 more points than him. I mean,
Now,
well,
granted, at the moment, Oscar is in the best car out
but
there.
he was in a good car last year, and he had many chances to get,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oscar has had a better opportunity
but
to.
he's made the most of it too.
Yeah, that's the thing.
7 podiums to 3 podiums.
That
I'm
And a
that's
race win.
yeah.
I mean, but also if you look at the previous series, Oscar did do it like very well done. Like he ran that like 2019, 2020, 2021, he just won stuff. Lance won the F3, but I think that's got an asterisk next to it because of daddy's money and Williams development.
Yeah. And
Fun.
the teammates who finished second to him and did all
Yeah,
this car
mysteriously
setups
just
and stuff.
had to go backwards for some reason.
Well,
Yeah.
just checking his record, he won the Italian F4 Championship in 2014.
Yeah.
He won the Toyota Racing Series in 2015.
Yeah.
He won Formula 3 2016.
Hmm.
And then after that,
Nothing.
he has
He went-
not even finished in the top 10. He's finished a couple of times top 10 in F1, and that's it.
Yeah, but
Everything else is
normally when if you like, Booby, there's drivers that win like F2 and F3 and they don't have an F1 seat.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit ridiculous.
If it was up to me, you'd you get rid of Stroll, just put Drogovic in for the rest of the year, and he'll probably end up doing a lot better.
But then,
you're talking someone who took multiple years to win Formula 2, which
Still better. At least he won an F2 series.
Yeah, Lance probably would have won it though had they spent the time in there to win it.
He didn't even race F2.
No, but if they had gone down that path,
they would have had the money to back him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have spent enough time there, and then you also you get a low year where you've got a lot of rookies that aren't quite up to speed and things like that. So when you go through them, there is a few champions in there that you understand why they didn't make it to Formula One or didn't exactly shine when they got to Formula One. Yeah.
So now, Dave, as it's past the magical 1 hour, I have a couple of questions.
Yeah, let's get them. So,
question one, using the Matradamus points thing, I get that Lance Stroll would do another Lance thing. Now, Lance screwing up Oscar, is that Lancey enough to get me the point?
Nah, that was fairly.
My thinking was that's like baseline Lance. I need next level Lance.
Yeah, you need to go full Stroll.
Full Lance. Yeah, I wanted to go full Stroll. If I just said Lance did a thing, that would be enough.
Yeah.
But I said Lance would do a Lance thing. So
yeah,
I'm 100% agree. Just making sure.
Yeah.
He's still got plenty more races. That's fine. Yeah. But I think I've asked you this before now, Dave. But in other sports that Booby and I watch, if a driver leaves that team, you still follow the team, not the player, right? Yep. So in F1 next year, when Blessed goes to Ferrari, will you have people leaving Williams to follow Blessed, or will you have people going, well, he's no longer on the Mercedes team?
So you get a bit of both, I think. Yeah. You get a lot of there's be a lot of, say, Ferrari fans that it doesn't matter who drives for them, they go for Ferrari. And you get a lot of, you'll now get a generation of McLaren fans. We would have had, Red Bull fans coming through and Mercedes fans, things like that. And like in the earlier days, generally whoever was at Jordan, I was kind of cheering them on. Like I decided they were my team because I like the colours on the car when I first started watching Formula One. But then gradually as I got more into it, then I started then following drivers, which was typically people from, either Jordan or Williams that then kind of moved around and things like that. So I think you'll get a lot of Hamilton fans. There weren't so much Mercedes fans, they were Hamilton fans.
But did they became Hamilton fans after maybe 2-3 championships in a row?
Yeah, I mean, there was a big, especially in Britain, I think, with Hamilton coming in, because you had that gap from Damon Hill to Hamilton coming in, where you had Jenson Button to go for. That was a bit of a wet blanket most of the time that Jenson was in Formula One. Like he did
like non-threatening road McLaren F1.
Yeah. He kind of Dragovic'd himself into a world championship. Like he was right place, right time. He'd been around long enough and got his world championship.
Would you say he almost Villeneuve'd his place, except that he's likable and people want to hear him talk?
Yeah, Villeneuve's championship's a little bit different because he was actually exceptionally good in the first couple of years, and then he fell off a massive cliff. But what was probably shocking is that Villeneuve actually had Schumacher take it to the last round of the championship when Williams were like miles ahead of the competition, and he had Frentzen had a Perez year. So yeah, like Frentzen was outstanding in lower level cars, and then you put him in the best car in the field, and he absolutely Perez'd it. Whereas then, like 2 years later, Frentzen was taking the fight in the championship in a Jordan that was probably like the fourth best car, and actually took the championship fight to McLaren and Ferrari, and then disappeared again. So,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think there will be a lot of people that will follow Hamilton. And then there'll be a lot of Ferrari fans that naturally then become Hamilton fans. And, Carlos Sainz drops away. They won't follow Sainz to Williams. They just follow whoever's driving for Ferrari.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That you follow the team.
Yeah. I may have to burn all of my Ferrari merchandise.
Don't do that. He'll only be there for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's it.
How long do you reckon he'll be there, and is he retiring at Ferrari?
Probably.
I think that, when he gets destroyed by Leclerc, he'll do the 2 years and disappear. Get his.
What's the chances that Mercedes win another championship before Bless does at Ferrari?
I don't know. Because I really thought at the start of the year, like Ferrari had turned a proper corner, and I thought Bless had pulled the blinder.
Yeah.
And I said Mercedes are done. Like they will never win another championship. Where they've actually they're not back, but they have definitely improved over the year, and they're probably going to have Max Verstappen for 2026.
You reckon he's leaving Red Bull?
Yeah.
I think Red Bull are going to be absolutely fucked in 2026.
Oh, yeah.
Because...
So he's just biding his time right now. He's like, whatever, I'll keep driving and get my...
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be out, so I'll stay at Red Bull. I'll look after this burning fire of the team.
Yeah.
The high fire of the team. And then come 2026, Toto's going to welcome me with some pumpernickel. Yeah. But the problem is he's not going to be able to have the fridge of Red Bull when he does his midnight drives, and he might not be able to do his midnight rides.
He'll have Monster Energy instead.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I think Red Bull are nearly backing themselves into a corner where they're going to be stuck with Perez for 2026.
Yep.
And they'll have probably lost Yuki. If Dan's not getting a promotion and going into a dumpster fire of Red Bull, he'll walk away. Yep. And they'll have lost Lawson.
Yeah.
So they basically have to promote Hadjar straight in or pick up
somebody else.
Someone who's getting booted from another Alonso or something.
Well, yeah, it looks like Red Bull's going to have to do a full rebuild in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because they haven't made decisions at the moment and fucked around so
They didn't
long.
have the guts to do it.
Yeah, Perez should be out and Lawson should be in.
Yeah.
That team, within the 4 seats somewhere, just to see how it goes. And then you put a pressure cooker environment on the 3 drivers, and then you have a Hadjar coming up next year as well. Whoever's the worst out of the Lawson, Dan, Yuki gets booted for Hadjar kind of thing. Yeah. And then at least you've got some blood in there to promote. But it's getting to the point, if they lose Max,
game over.
Yeah. That's it.
Fun fact, Dave, I just noticed, if Red Bull were to win their Constructors' Champion this year, they would go to 7th, equal with Lotus, and still 1 behind Toto. But if McLaren were to win, they would leave Mercedes in Team 8 and go to 9 with Williams and become equal 2nd.
McLaren only had 8 constructors.
McLaren only have 8, 74, 84, 85, 88, 89, 91, 92, 91, and 1998.
Oh, wow.
That's right. Yeah, because they didn't take, Ferrari took the 99 and
the 99,
That's,
2000. They look pretty in the early 2000s, Dave. Ferrari were pretty good. They must have had a good driver then.
They pretty good setup. How many has Ferrari won over the years? It's about 14 or something.
They have 16.
Okay.
Williams have 9. And then McLaren and Mercedes both have 8. Lotus have 7, which is embarrassing for Red Bull because Lotus haven't been in F1 for years. Hurry up, Red Bull. And then the more exciting teams, Cooper and Brabham both have 2. Renault have 2 from Rookie of the Year. And then you've got the coolest group, 1. Can you name all 6 teams that have 1 constructors?
Braun is 1.
Yep.
One would be 1.
There'd be... Yeah, Tyrrell would have won at least 1, wouldn't they?
Yep.
Yeah, that's 2.
There was the United Colours.
Benetton.
Yeah, so you got the bottom 3, and there's 3 more. I mean, they did win it in
Maserati?
58, 62, and 69.
Maserati.
Nah.
Okay.
Well, so 58, 62, 69.
Yeah. One of them, I only just found out about now, Van Wall. You know that constructor.
Oh, yeah.
Won it the very first time. And then there's BRM, or British Racing Motor, and then Mantra.
Matra, yeah.
But yeah, I noticed that Haas hasn't won any, or Stake. Stake don't seem to be here at all.
You can't even go back through their history for a championship.
No, exactly.
You can't even say a Sauber pulled one out or BMW.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's it'll be very interesting soon.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back next week for a Baku preview.
Are we? Oh yeah, because is there no race this weekend?
Oh,
no.
Yeah, no racing this weekend, and I might not be here next week.
Well, you collected too many penalty points, and Boovy and I have kicked you out.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, Boovy, good news. During the show, Dave's going to tell me his picks.
Yep.
And Rob's going to ring me as well.
Too bad I've got the official scorecard.
Well, joke's on you, Dave. If I had paper in here, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
But I don't. I got pencils though. A lot of pencils.
I've got my pen license, so we're good to go.
I got
right.
a copy.
And
Why do
I'm
I
that
have so many-
exciting.
I have so
Well,
many scissors in this house.
We'll see you all next week while Matt goes through his
Yeah.
stationery.
Yeah. Next week we're
I'll
going to
go
work
through
out
his
why I
stationery.
have 4 pairs of scissors.
See you.
So you-
We're going to have an amazing
See you later.
show next week. No
Oh, yeah,
F1,
definitely.
scissors,
Bye.
scissors and pencils.